Welcome on behalf of the Orangeburg Area League of Women Voters. I'm Angela Small Blaylock, and I will be your moderator for this forum. The League is a nonpartisan organization interested in helping to educate voters about the candidates as they prepare to vote for Orangeburg County School District 6. The League of Women Voters does not endorse candidates or political parties. The Orangeburg County School Board is composed of 9 members. 7 are elected from single-member districts, and 2 are elected at large. Board members serve 4-year terms. The board determines the operational budget, hires the superintendent, draws attendance zones, sets the calendar, and adopts policies for the board and district. You will have the opportunity to vote for one of these candidates starting tomorrow. Early voting is available from Monday, October 21st, 2024, until November 2nd, 2024. Closed on Sunday, October 27th, 2024. Early voting centers are open 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the early voting period. The voting center in Orangeburg is located at the Old County Library at 510 Lewis Street. Election day is on Tuesday, November 5th. Your polling location will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Let's begin this forum with a moment of silence. Thank you. First, some housekeeping. We ask that all participants mute their audio and turn off their video so only the moderator and the candidates are seen and there is no background noise. We've asked each of the candidates not to post any political signs or partisan materials on their screens. Your questions or comments will be seen only by the moderator. Questions were developed by the League of Women Voters of the Orangeburg area. The moderator will ask all of the questions. These are the rules of the forum. First, each candidate will have or will be allowed 60 seconds to introduce themselves. Then each candidate will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to every question. In the interest of fairness, we will rotate candidates to provide an opportunity for each to go first in answering questions. Lastly, each candidate will have 60 seconds to make a closing statement and give voters information on how to contact them and learn more. These time limits will be strictly enforced. As previously introduced, David Smith from the Orangeburg Area League of Women Voters will help the candidates keep track of time. He will give a 30-second warning, a 15-second warning, and then will hold up a card that says stop when the time is up. Candidates will not be allowed to interrupt one another while answering the questions. No inappropriate language, no name calling, etc. will be allowed. No time is allotted for rebuttals. Candidates can make clarifications during the time allotted to them for answering questions. Let me go back and introduce our forum members today who will be handling the Zoom meeting. I am your moderator again, Angela Small Blaylock. Our timekeeper will be our treasurer, David Smith, and technical support from the Columbia Area League of Women Voters, Anita Baker. Now let's begin our forum by introducing our candidates. We have with us Ruby Edwards, Theodore V. Reed, and Jeffrey H. Whisenhunt. We will begin by asking each candidate to begin with a 60-second opening statement, beginning with Ruby Edwards.
You hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruby Edwards. I am a retired educator, and I currently serve as the chairman of the Orangeburg County School Board. I have served the school board since the consolidation. I live in Orangeburg, South Carolina, of course. I'm married and have two children and a daughter-in-law. Education is the most important thing to me because I think it gives you ability to do all the things that you need to do. So education is so important to me.
Thank you. Theodore Reed.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Theodore Reed. I am from Orangeburg. I am a true product of Orangeburg Consolidated District. Before it was consolidated, of course. I've been in education since 1993. I have opened up the first in the state of South Carolina all boys charter school. I've educated down in Charleston, and I've educated in Manning, and I'm also educated in Orangeburg. So I've been all over the place. And the true fact stating is, it's time to get these kids where they need to be, pretty much. I like to use the term my babies because all the students that I work with, I consider them my babies. Even with the teachers, because we work together on this.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt.
Yes, thank you to everybody. I am Jeffrey Whisenhunt. You can call me Dr. Whisenhunt. I do have a PhD from Oklahoma State University in agriculture education. I got my undergrad from Clemson University. Born and raised here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and attended Edisto High School. So I'm a product of the system before it's consolidated as well. I am an active teacher in my 18th year, currently teaching at Cross High School as a teacher and coach in Berkeley County. I've taught in 4 different districts, 5 different schools, ranging from single A to 4A, so different sizes. I've also, while my extend in Oklahoma, got to witness and observe districts in the Oklahoma school district system for the different counties there while I was observing pre-service educators. So I've dedicated life to education. It is my view that education is the foundation for our students, and as an agriculture educator, we believe in problems-based solutions and teaching through work-based experience. And that's what our students need to be able to be successful. Legally, lawfully, it is our school district's purpose to prepare students for both college and careers. And we need to make sure that we're getting them at the standard in the lower grades to help prepare them for the upper grades. So that way they can have the tools they need to be successful and gain employment in the workplace. And I appreciate everybody allowing me to be a part of this today.
Thank you. We will begin with Ruby Edwards in question 1. What are the 3 most important reasons you are running for the school board?
The 3 most important reasons I'm running for the school board, first of all, is my joy and excitement for our school district. Having served as the chairman of the board for the last 4 years, everything that I do, I try to make sure that we are doing what's good for the children. The accomplishments that we have had so far, we have raised the academic standards in our district. And one of the most things I'm most proud of is being fiscal responsible, making sure that we're doing what we need to do with the taxpayers' money. I have one employee in the district, that's the superintendent, and we work on policies and making sure that the budgets are done correctly. So my most important thing is to make sure that we are making sure that we are financial fiscal and making sure that everything that we do, we are taking the taxpayers' money seriously.
Thank you. Theodore Reed.
Yes, I have the 3 most things that my platform is enhancing educational excellence, fostering community growth and development, and building strong partnerships. When it comes to enhancing the educational excellence, you have to implement the evidence-based materials and teaching strategy to invest in the school system. With the fostering of community growth and development, when test scores are where they should be, you will have more businesses come to and partner within the school district because of the spoken with test scores rising. People are coming in. And in building those strong partnerships all work together, because you have to have strong connection within the community to make them want to be a part of your system.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt.
My 3 areas important is one, instilling students with tools to be lifelong learners. We all know that problem solving is going to be a key important part of success in the future and solving the problems that we right now don't know exist. And so giving students the tools to be able to do lifelong learning, critical thinking skills that most industry tells us they would like to see in employees, that is highly important. Next, physical responsibility. If we are not physically responsible with taxpayers' money, then we're not teaching students how to manage money or setting good examples for our community to be able to properly use their resources. And third, creating community partnerships, whether it be with between the school and the parents, or the school system and employers. It is very important to have both of those individuals or entities involved in the educational process, because they are stakeholders that hold significant value and input into our system. And so we need to make sure that we're listening to them as well.
Thank you. Question number 2 will be addressed to Theodore Reed first. What are the most critical concerns in public education K through 12 in your school district?
I see that pre-K is one of the major catapults to help our students. You have to start early. You can't wait until the 3rd grade, that's a tested grade, to implement certain issues. I firmly believe that the lower grades are those grades to actually build that foundation. So once they are successful in those lower grades, they'll be fine throughout the remainder of those grades. You have to give them those tools.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt. What are the
Yes.
critical
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the same question. What are the most critical concerns in public education K through 12 in your school district?
I would say that developing the tools and skills for them to be lifelong learners. That's one of the biggest things that I see across, and I've seen across all my experience with education and from talking to students, parents, and teachers within our district. We need to have those kids, again, like Mr. Reed said, at the lower grades. We need to start teaching those soft skills, time management, knowing how to study. So that way students can be successful throughout the later years. Plethora of research tells us that if the students do not have the skills by the time they get to high school, they're going to struggle to get them. And as an active high school teacher, I see it every day, and we strive to work with those students. We, in talking to teachers in Orangeburg School District, they strive to work with that. But we need to make sure they have those skill sets. We need to make sure they have that writing, that math concepts down, so before they move on to the next grade, so that way they can be successful and be actual true productive members of our society.
Thank you. Ruby Edwards.
My concerns, first of all, would be school safety, making sure that our kids, they come to school safely and they get home safely, and making sure while they're safe, and our faculty and staff. I would say also increasing academic achievement. That's always an important, you can always learn something new to help our students to increase their academic achievement. And the last one for me would be fiscal responsibility, making sure that we're doing good things with the taxpayers' money. I take that very seriously in what I do.
All right, thank you. This is question number 3, and it will be addressed to Jeffrey Whisenhunt first.
Yes, ma'am.
3 to 4 immediate steps you would take to improve the quality of public education for the citizens of your district?
The first one would recommend a calendar change. Research tells us that students that go with a long gap over the summer tend to lose content. So moving to a more year-round schedule would allow us to get more retention in those students. Also, we look at some other schedules of other districts around the state. Having a 2-week break in between quarters allows for 1 week of tutoring for students to come in and regain or get assistance that they need to better their skills and prepare them for moving forward. Two would be looking at our budget, making sure that programs are getting the proper funding for each area, whether it's career and technology, programs for smaller grade, lower grades to be able to instill tutoring and sessions for assistance for those students that didn't quite come in or they're struggling with the content, so we can have teachers assist them after school programs. Three would be looking at making sure our facilities are where they need to be, so that way students are learning in a safe environment and able to gain those skills in a environment that allows them to feel safe and meet all their needs. And then four would be building that community partnership with parents and making sure teachers are reaching out to their parents, and parents have input and they're reaching out to their teachers of their students, so that their youth, so that way they can actually build a partnership to educate students.
Thank you. Ruby Edwards, what would be the 3 to 4 immediate steps you would take to improve the quality of public education for the citizens of your district?
First of all, I'd like to say that I would like to continue doing what we have been doing. We have reached several milestones in Orangeburg County, and as I said, serving on the school board. We have been an example for consolidation. We have improved the academics of our students. We are improving the facilities. We've always working on trying to keep our students safe. And I feel like I would like to continue doing the things that we are doing. We work with the superintendent to make sure that we get the vision, his vision and our vision works together. And that's what we've been doing. Orangeburg County is doing great things in public education. And that's why I want to continue to serve to make sure that continues.
Thank you. Theodore Reed, what are the 3 to 4 immediate steps you would take to improve the quality of public education for the citizens of your district?
Okay, I would have to really agree with Mr. Whisenhunt. And going through doing research, I've learned that the time spent is very valuable when it comes to having the kids and the teachers enjoy doing what you're doing. For one thing, is first step. But it's called an intercession, where you coming in, but you do have some time off, but not maybe the whole school year. You're going through minor breaks, your lesson planning sessions for the teachers, understanding them and unpacking the indicators that the students need to have, and also having that break within it. They call intercessions. Time in, time out. That's one of the main things. The next thing is to go in and talk to the educators themselves and see what their needs are. You have to actually have that bond with your educators and also with the superintendent in agreement where what is best for our students. And then we look at what our students are actually doing. And the third thing is culture and climate. When you walk into a building in Orangeburg School District, you should feel welcome and safe. Safety is one of the main things. And so we're looking at those three things. So, but safety is the big issue now that's coming up. We have the monitors. You have those students coming in, but safety is one of the big issues.
Thank you. This question will go back to Ruby Edwards. How will you work with public officials and other community leaders to enhance the standards of education for the benefit of teachers and students?
As I said before, I've served in the education system for over 30 years. I thought I was pretty good at it until I became a board member and had to deal with all of the making sure that everything is going well. What I like to say about that is that I think working with the community is the only way. That all stakeholders are important in the educational system. Every person that works in the building has a job to do, and it's important to the children. Every community leader, that's why I make sure I stay in the community working each and every day, meeting people. I make sure they have my number to give me a call if they have a concern. And I feel like the community, in order for us to improve or do anything in the community for education, we all have to work together. So I make sure that I work with our legislators, our parents, our teachers, our staff, clergy. Everyone has a say in trying to make sure that the children in Orangeburg County are educated well.
Thank you. Theodore Reed, how will you work with public officials and other community leaders to enhance the standards of education for the benefit of teachers and students?
Okay, first I always had an open door policy as an administrator and as the regular teacher. You have to share your views. And to me, the community is very important because our students are going out into the community, maybe here, maybe not. But to bring those community members in to see what we are doing, they can have internships, partnerships. Even with the principals, they can go in and have partnerships a day of coming in to see what the community come out and see what we are doing in the schools. Because those are the ones that's actually going to be working with them. So they have to understand who you are, where you're coming from. And again, it goes back with the culture and the climate. But it's an open door policy. If someone gives me a call in the contact, my belief is you have 24 hours to have that conversation with them. If you don't talk to the community, you don't know the community. And being a part of the community and having a business in the community, they'll bring in the fields of studies. They can say, all right, I want this child to be able to do plumbing. I want this child to be able to do business. I want this child to be able to build. I want this student to be able to do. And so those partnerships within the community are a very relevant piece of the school system.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt, how will you work with public officials and other community leaders to enhance the standards of education for both teachers and students?
First off, communication is very, very key. Allowing individuals to give me a call, email me, so that way I can respond to those concerns and comments that they have. But then going actively, continue doing like I do now, and I meet with or talk to individuals out in the community from time to time about their concerns, about what's going on, what do they have problems with, talking to students regarding issues that they're having, and getting input from all the stakeholders. I'd further reach out to those individuals to be able to set that. Moving forward, I would go set times to go to the different schools within the district to be able to meet with administration, teachers, and talk to them even more so and make myself visible to them. So that way they have, if they don't think they can call me or they forget to call me or email me, they can tell me and stop me as they see me and be visible. So that way communication is present and they're able to communicate me throughout the time of their students in school. They're working for the school district, or those business members in this our community see me as I'm out and about. But also having that open door policy to where people can contact me, just like I have with my current parents.
Thank you. This question will go to Theodore Reed. What, if any, measures would you take to enhance school security?
The measures that they have now are being done protectively, but the only thing I would change is the fact of the education of security. You have the what you call those things, the guards in. You have them there. Upper schools, you have the monitors come in, and they're bringing those in. The only thing I would see is if you're out on the bus ramp, you'll have those wands out there like you will have at the entrance of the school. And so it's the educational piece part of it. They're doing a great job at this point now. SROs are already there. Train your staff. You have the wands at the bus ramp. You have the wands throughout the front and the exit entrances. That's the only thing I can think that will be changed. Other than that, they're doing a great job now.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt.
For school safety, one, we need to review policies regarding school safety in each location, because each location is different, and those have to be reviewed by security staff within the district regularly. As new things come out, new problems come out, they need to be addressed, making sure our cameras are open and up to date and working. Our SROs are out and visible to our students. Education of administration and our teachers and faculty and staff on procedures, policies, even with students on those procedures and policies. So if an incident as simple as a fire breaks out, students know when and where to go and how to do that. Those are all significant in making sure that those policies update and practice. Just like students are supposed to practice exiting a bus on several times a year. So that way, if there's an accident or an incident, they know how to exit that bus. So does every other policy that we follow. Now, yes, that's legally supposed to occur, but maybe instituting them more, maybe addressing some other policies and testing those more and working with students, parents, even working with them on procedures of this is how you contact the school in the case of an emergency. So that way we're not creating chaos in our community for various incidents that may occur in the school.
Thank you.
You are.
B. Edwards,
Yes.
what single measures would you take to enhance school security?
All right, speaking about school security, I do agree. Mr. Reed and Mr. Whisenhunt both said that it's something that you're constantly working on. On last week, that's what we did. We always like to meet with the experts, our stakeholders, the sheriffs and the city police officers. We had a meeting like this last week to make sure that we are improving security. When you have large events, sometimes you have to make sure that you change the policy. So it's a constant day-to-day operation that you have to worry about doing. So you don't just get standing and doing it. So as I said before, last week we had that meeting. We put new policies in and new ways to do things that goes with what's happening with our children each and every day. So making sure that security is important. We do have our resource officers in our school. We were able to add resource officers to our school. They are phenomenal. They help with our school each and every day. So you have to make sure that you work with the experts and the stakeholders to make sure that everyone is working. And please don't leave out the clergy, because I need them to say a little prayer to make sure we stay safe too.
The next question will go to Mr. Whisenhunt. How do you believe the school board should address the issue of book bans in schools? And what criteria should be used to determine whether a book should be restricted or removed from the curriculum?
Each book would have to be evaluated on its own merit. Now, there are things I would argue that are age appropriate. And so that's why the book of that specific book would have to be looked at. Many policies would allow the librarian to evaluate those books just like they do now. And you could lay out expectations for what books are grade level appropriate. And then if they're not grade level appropriate, then they don't need to be in the library for that specific grade, whether it be primary, elementary, or high school. If you have that, that would be the first thing. Now you can also include, it could be as easy as a Google Doc for a parent if they have concerns about a book, to bring that to us as a board for evaluation, and put a committee together to evaluate those through basically the librarians as a part of it, maybe teachers, students, as well as parents, to be able to evaluate those texts that are in question. But that's the main thing. It's age appropriateness. Some content is too in depth on some topics for a first grader to read and deal with, and so those shouldn't be appropriate for them, where it may be appropriate for a high school.
Thank you. Ruby Edwards.
Okay. We have a superintendent of curriculum and instruction. We also have media specialists that work in the district also. If there is a problem with any kind of anything that they feel, they are the experts. If they feel that there's a problem, their job is to make sure that the superintendent is made aware of it. And then the superintendent will make the board aware of it and what his suggestion and what we can do to make sure that our children are being able to read books that they need to read. But this is something that you have the experts, your curriculum superintendent, and also your media specialist. They are quite prepared to do this job. And that's what we rely on. We hire those people to do that. And if they feel that something is incorrect, they will inform the superintendent and he will inform the board, and then the board will make the decision together.
Thank you. Mr. Reed?
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, it has to be developmentally appropriate for the students. Because now we have what they call a social media has been a big stance on what our students are getting involved in, and everything is computer generated down to AI. But it should be vetted by a committee consisting of teachers and librarians and those that, like Ms. Edwards said, that are knowledgeable of those things. You have community members and administrators. Anything that you see that's inappropriate for our students, we have to come and bring that back and have that conversation. Because someone may not agree with something doesn't mean that everyone is going to agree or disagree with something. So therefore, you have that committee and you have all your stakeholders involved, because those are the major carriers of what we need to be doing, taking care of our stakeholders, students and our parents. But it must be developmentally appropriate. Again, it goes back to from pre-K up to the high school. We need to make sure that our students are getting what they need to be successful without having the issues of what's going on other communities and other people's thoughts.
Thank you. This will be our last question addressed to Ruby Edwards. What is your stance on cell phone bans and why?
This is the cell phone issue came up beginning last year. The legislators in Columbia passed the cell phone law. So therefore, all school districts in South Carolina will have to adhere to that law. I'm a firm believer in doing what has been assigned for us to do. We have looked at our policy. Our policy will begin in January. We've made our parents and all other stakeholders aware of the legislature's law that was passed. What we have done as a district, we have made sure we did surveys, we've talked to students, we talked to parents. And those parents who had concerns were able to contact their superintendent. We did not have very many to contact because that was one of the questions that was asked at a board meeting. However, with the phone bill, we will have to follow that law, and we will, because we will make sure that in Orangeburg County, we do what is asked of us to do, especially from our delegation and our legislators.
Thank you. Theodore Reed, what is your stance on cell phone bans and why?
Yes, with the new law that was passed by the legislation, I agree. Personally, I would say you should not have a cell phone within the building, because if you're there, you have phones inside of the classroom. If there's an emergency, it's always you are always able to get in contact with the administration of what needed to happen. But to me, no cell phones in the classroom, because it takes away from the instruction and instructional time.
Thank you. Jeffrey Whisenhunt?
Yes, ma'am. Legislatively, the state Congress has and government has designated the policy on cell phones to an extent. With that being said, cell phones are just like any computer and technology. It can be misused and abused. And so having a technology policy in place that addresses those concerns, because a student can misuse a Chromebook or a laptop just as easy and can communicate through that just as easy as they can a cell phone. Now, with that being said, a cell phone can have its place in the curriculum if used properly, just like any tool. And so therefore, we need to make sure that we are educating students on proper use of those technology, as well as meeting the legal requirements for the new law. Minimum use in some regards to cell phone is my personal policy or belief, meaning when it's appropriate. But we need to follow the legal guidelines that set out. Now, I know that hasn't truly been fully ironed out by every district. That's something that have to be reviewed. Some districts are choosing to go to a bag where you have to put it in a bag and keep up. I see merit in that, but also see problems with that. And so that's going to have to be evaluated. Stakeholders, as Ms. Edwards said, I'd have to review that policy once I got in, because also parents would have to see the repercussions of what that policy means. But if it's used properly, any technology can be good.
Thank you. At this time, each candidate will have the opportunity to present a 60-second closing statement, including where voters can contact you and learn more about you. Ms. Edwards, we'll start with you.
Again, thank you all so much today for allowing us to have this forum. What I would like to say is that it has been my honor to represent the Orangeburg County School Board District 6, working with our stakeholders, our parents, our teachers, and our students. I am excited and I am very proud of the job that we have done, raising academic achievement, making sure that we are able to make our facilities better for our students. Also, I would like to say that in order for any person to contact me, you may call me at 803-707-2797. That's my number. I get several calls on that phone. And again, it's 803-707-2797. I also would like to say to the voters of Orangeburg County District 6, I ask that you continue to allow me to support you. I will do everything in my power to continue the great job that we have started in Orangeburg. And I want you to know that everyone is important. Everyone has ideas. So I will listen to everyone and make sure that we try to make decisions that are best for the children. Everything that I do, is it good for the children? And I also, as a board member, make sure that we are doing things that board members are to do. We are to hire the superintendent, make our policies correct, and not run the day-to-day operations. And I think that's one thing our board has been great at doing. So voters of Orangeburg County District 6, I look forward to continuing serving as your school board representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reed? Theodore Reed, in your
I
closing.
could see, but right now I can't read. Let's see.
He's losing his connectivity right now. You may want to is it possible to go on and come back to him?
Right, let's try Mr. Whisenhunt.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this forum. I think there's great ideas passed out by everybody. If we can all work together and move together, we can push our district forward. I'll keep children first. I keep our community first. Born and raised here, it holds a special place in my heart, and I want to continue serving that capacity. With that being said, you can reach me by phone, 803-347-3387. That's my cell. If I don't answer, please leave me a message with your name and contact so I can get back and hold of you. Also, text messages tend to work a little bit quicker and faster in some regards. You can contact me at school. Please do it only during my planning, which is before stops at 10:30. And that's 843-899-8900. Please don't email me from to my school email just because, again, freedom of information, and I'm not supposed to receive contacts across email with that address. But please reach out to me if you have any questions current. And if you feel that I'm the man for you, please vote for me this election.
Thank you. Let's go back to Mr. Reed.
His mic is turned off.
Yeah, your mic is turned.
It's on.
Okay, now we can hear you. Thank you. And now we can't.
Unmute.
There you are.
There you go. Okay. My contact information, Theo_Reed@hotmail.com. My cell phone number, 803-707-4129. If I don't answer, leave me a voicemail or also a text message because it's always there. But throughout my 3 decades in education, working with a dedicated educator, And the students, I enjoy doing what I do. This is why I do what I do. I'll travel throughout the state of South Carolina looking at educational pieces and policies. And I want to bring that back to Orangeburg 5 and new things, new ideas, and to get our students where they should be. Parents, let's give our babies the best. Bottom line, do your best, be your best.
Thank you. That concludes our forum, and we would like to thank our candidates for attending, and most of all, you, the audience, for listening and becoming more informed voters. We encourage voters to go to South Carolina Votes, that's scvotes.org, to make a plan to vote. Check your registration, find your polling place, and see what's on the ballot. Call your Board of Elections office by October 25th to apply for an absentee ballot. That number is 803-533-6210. Early voting begins tomorrow, Monday, October 21st. Please vote and encourage your neighbors to do so as well. Thank you all and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Goodbye, good evening.
Thank you as well.